Alright, we're doing a hub assembly, upper and lower ball joints. Chevy Silverado. I've got pretty much all my sockets and wrenches and all my sizes I need. I'm going to start off with this rotor, taking the hold down bolt out of the rotor. We got a Torx bit T30 on that. There we go, it's just easier to do that first. Now we're going to take the caliper off. We got a 19 millimeter there. Both of them bolts out. Caliper just came right out, perfect. I don't have to pry on it or anything. I'll take the mounting bracket off. That's an 18 millimeter, 2 bolts on the back. Out of the way. Now we got our rotor off. What do we want to do next? Let's take the little cap off this hub. This one's being stubborn, but I got it. Just gonna work around it with a flat head with a nice point and a hammer. Just gonna work around it. Switch to a bigger flathead. Now that I got a gap, pry it off. Go ahead and find my size. Like a 36 mil for the axle nut. Should be a washer in there too. Go ahead and just get this bracket out of my way. Got to get our wheel speed sensor wire out of the way. 10 millimeter here. Put that right back where it goes. Got a few clips to take off. Probably the other screwdriver will work better. One clip. We're gonna take it out of this little Christmas tree right here. Got it started to lift it up with the flathead and popped it out with some needle nose. Alright, there's this little purple clip in there. It's got to shove backwards. It doesn't want to move. Yeah, these little guys are a pain sometimes. They lock in. Over the years, they don't want to come back out. Try to push it. There we go. Went in through the back of the wiring harness to get it to come off. And they're like that. All right. Our CV axle is pushing back. That's good. Sometimes you got to put an air chisel with a pointy bit in the middle of that CV axle. But this one's doing good. I like it. Don't have to bust out the air chisel. We got a 15 millimeter. In the back of there. Use a 1/2-inch drive with a short extender. We got 3 bolts in the back of here. Swing this caliper out of the way. Good. I'm going to go ahead and take the tie rod end off because we're doing the ball joints anyways. What size we got here? Got a 21 millimeter on the tie rod. I'm going to spin the wheel the other way. Just going to hammer right on this tie rod where it goes into the steering knuckle. That's going to loosen the tie rod up. It pops right out of its socket. That's going to give us a little extra extension to get in smoother. on those 3 bolts in the back. All right, we got another one out of the way. One more to go. The top one, which is the toughest to get straight on. That's why it wants to bounce off. Oh my goodness. It's in there. It's in there good. Let's try doing this one by hand. There's too much vibration with the impact gun. It keeps wanting to pop off of there. Starting to round the head of the bolt a little. Same thing. All right, there we go. Get her started by hand, then use the impact. Last one's out. Now we're ready to take the hub assembly out. I sprayed down my control arm, the nuts, wire wheeled the tie rod end beforehand, ball joints. Just gave them some spray with PB Blaster. I did not hit the hub assembly. I should have, where it mates to the steering knuckle. Soak it down for a while. It'll help it come out. Now you can use an air chisel, get in between there, but that could damage your steering knuckle, put grooves in it. This one actually came out real easily. Don't expect it to come out. Mother chucker. How'd that happen? There we go. I touched my stand with that, dropping that hammer down. All right, the hub came right out easily. That's good. So we're gonna have to save that bracket. Worry about that later. We're gonna remember which way this went on. So make sure you know which way it goes on. Sensor out this side, caliper out this side facing forward. It is real rusty up in there. We'll probably clean it up once we have the steering knuckle off. We gotta get the steering knuckle off to do the ball joints. I'm gonna start off with taking that upper ball joint out. So we're gonna need a 18 millimeter wrench. little lefty-loosey here. Having an 18 mil ratcheting wrench is recommended. Mine's broken. I've got 18 mil short, but that's not going to give me enough. And hopefully when you do this, the inside of the ball joint doesn't spin and it just comes out. If it does spin, you're going to have to use that 10 millimeter knob. Put a wrench on it to hold the inner ball joint still and get the nut off. Give it some heat. That might do it. This one looks like it's going to come all the way off, no problem. Just like the hub assembly, coming right out of there. All right, that's out of the way. Time to loosen that lower ball joint, 24 millimeter. Real rusty threads at the end. They don't want to come out. I'm going to put that nut back on real loosely, because when the steering knuckle drops, you don't want it to fall to the floor. So we're going to take our hammer, just like with the tie rod end, hit the steering knuckle, and it pops right out. Now I got to get the bottom to pop out. Maybe spin it the other way. Try some different angles. There it goes. Ooh. All right, so it looks like that steering knuckle wasn't just going to drop. Here we go. Steering knuckle's out. Now we can work on the rest of it. If you want a little more room, you can take the CV axle out. I don't think I'm going to do that. I'm going to start off with getting the upper control arm off. We got 10 millimeter. Holding down the brake hose bracket, top of the control arm. That's off. All right, now we want to loosen our two nuts. 21 millimeter on the outsides of the control arm. There's little pins on the inside and outside. This one has a plastic cap to keep the pin in place. The inside, I'm just going to give a little mark. Come on. There we go. Juices are flowing. You want to set your bolts back where they were. Alignment purposes. All right, we got our 2 little pins marked on the inside. I'm going to go ahead and move this. See what I'm messing with here. Got our 1 bolt here. Might be able to fit the impact in there. Let's see. It's pretty tight. There we go. We got our 21mm wrench where the inside of the bolt is. You want to make sure you take note of where each one of these pieces of hardware go. Keep them in the same spot. This one's going a lot smoother than most of them that I do. Clean truck. Right down there, hose. Come over to the other side and get that guy loosened up. This one's a lot stiffer than the other side was. All right. Now we got to get these bolts out. They're pointed at the tip, so you can hammer on them a little bit. Let's see if I can get some more light up in here. Yep. With any luck, they hammer out that easily. Most of them are not going to do that, in my experience. All right, so we got our shim here. And keep track of where they all go. Now to get to this to clear, I'm gonna press that shim plate all the way back in. Get a screwdriver on the end of there. And fish that bolt out. There we go. We got our little plate on the back side. Sometimes those shims don't like to break free from the bolt. These ones are cooperating pretty well. Depending on what model and year you're doing, sometimes these bolts can hit the strut. So you've got to compress the strut springs to get them out of the way, or take the strut out of the way. These ones, this one, it leaves me enough room. Usually these control arms don't just slide right out of there. Take yourself a pry bar and work them a little bit. This style upper ball joint is built into the control arm, so you replace the whole control arm with it. It's all out of the way. Now I'm going to swing my CV axle out of the way. Here's our ball joint. There's these little tabs on original ball joints. You're going to take an air chisel or a hammer and a good screwdriver and bend those back towards the inside of the ball joint. So I'm going to take my wire wheel, clean this up, and bend those tabs forward, and I'll be right back.